And welcome to Lamont, Illinois for your 2026 Northern Super Regional D2 semifinal match between Fort Wayne and Kansas City RFC. My name is Lance Cavanaugh. I am joined in the booth with the Hall of Famer, Darian Lovelace. And Darian, both teams poised. We now made it to the round of 16. So much on the line here. Looking forward to a great match.
The small details are really going to mean the most to both sides here, as this matchup is bound to be a bruiser here. Got to give a shout out though to Kansas City head coach Pat Clifton, fellow host of the College Rugby Show. If you haven't watched it already, you're missing out on something special, but Fort Wayne is definitely going to give quite the contest to Kansas City here. This is not going to be an easy match for either side, and I'm looking forward to some big collisions and some serious ball movement from both of these teams.
I'm not sure how he finds time to do so much for the college game and still gets his team in the round of 16. But here we are. This game will be controlled in the middle. Pat is the man with the whistle.
Black captain.
As we are almost underway.
Good, Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne receiving Kansas City in the red, white, and blue stripes. And we are underway in your Division II semifinal Northern Region matchup. Fort Wayne charges and forges ahead.
Use 9.
Strong hit up as Fort Wayne find themselves pit deep in their own end, setting themselves up to kick the ball and clear their lines. Ball bounces out of bounds. And just like that, we have our first lineup of the game. Darren, you got to be excited for this matchup. Both teams seem to be poised. We're going to see two teams. If they can hold discipline, this might be one of those next-level rugby classics.
There's always a next-level rugby classic whenever we're chilling here with next-level rugby on the broadcast. But, Lance, I've got to agree with you. I feel like we're more excited to watch this matchup than the players right now, only because everything seems pretty mellow and pretty calm from them. As I say that, though, it seems like the ball might have gone a little bit wayward, a bit of miscommunication already coming out from Kansas City here. So they're going to have to work out the kinks here early on. This gives the Fort Wayne side just optimal scrum positioning, and this will be their first scrum of the game. So we'll kind of see how teams are going to measure up here at the set piece.
Yeah, and this is a great moment for this Fort Wayne side. You can make so many decisions here. Do you kick deeper into the corner? Do you use this as a green zone attacking moment? Center scrum can go either way. So much field on the bottom of your screen here, ladies and gentlemen. And now we really get to see what this scrum is built like. And looks like Kansas City are going to roll it over, steal the ball just off the push, going to the boot. 50-22 is on. If that stays inbounds, it still will be a high-pressure moment for Fort Wayne. Gathered cleanly, going around the corner and able to slide backwards. Christopher Ballard able to keep possession for this Fort Wayne side, and they were able to relieve pressure just off a hustle, off a great moment from this Kansas City scrum, to able to keep possession. Chopped down, Fort Wayne ball carrier, and now they choose to go to the forward pack, a bash up into multiple Kansas City defenders, and now Fort Wayne, the black jerseys, choosing to push and press forward, resourcing that ruck heavily. And the defensive line for Kansas City able to hold his spatial integrity. Not much line speed, but still able to bring the ball carrier down. Rose regathers and able to press forward since Ethan Glasscockis. Now again, a strong ball carrier by Fort Wayne. Ball is knocked out in the tackle, but backwards, says the referee. As Fort Wayne now able to play again, ball in hand. And so much speed on the run. But unfortunately tipped and falls on his upper shoulder. Ball available. But man, what a collision here, Darren.
Yeah, the line looking very, very flat already from Fort Wayne here. Trey Sherman decides to drop the shoulder, and it's just an awkward fall as both of the defenders fall to ground here. He just gets caught kind of awkwardly in the air, so then it has to go in favor of Fort Wayne for the penalty. They'll kick for the line out. I don't know if they're going to be going to the scrum option very much. That front row that just dominated at scrum time with Gillespie, Land, and Dilly, longtime scrummager for Kansas City there. I mean, they're going to be foaming at the mouth any chance that they get. It adds a different level, though, to Fort Wayne here, as their handling is going to have to be, I mean, just absolute in anything that they do if they don't want to scrum against Kansas City.
And again, the set piece from Kansas City getting the ball back, and it seems like the early momentum for these set pieces is screaming to Kansas City, but unable to get clean ball from there, and the knock-on happens just as fast. And you gotta love the fact that their set pieces getting the ball back here. Gives you confidence.
Yeah, it's just that they're going to have to make those moments work whenever they do work very hard to win the set piece there. Proper ball movement is going to be key there, and making the right decision whenever you have the ball in hand is going to be instrumental for them. If they can generate the turnovers, it doesn't really matter if the ball ends up just causing another scrum here. But, I mean, we'll have to take another look and see if they dominate how they did in the first one. Fort Wayne, got to wonder what they're going to measure up to here.
Set.
And big scrum push. Unable to get the same results as before, is now Fort Wayne choosing to go to that poke, playing the ball deep in the corner. And they're opting to keep the ball. Instead of gathering it on that edge, Kansas City lets the ball dribble out, and now they'll have to deal with a line out deep in their own end here.
Finds our gap, fellas.
Yeah, but the chase is looking really promising coming in from Fort Wayne. Ballard, and it looks like that was Biddle, are just there to go ahead and scoop it up there. That might be a superpower that they have moving forward. It does pin Kansas City really far down in this end here, and a lot of meters, about 95 meters to go for Kansas City.
4+1.
Ball tipped up from the top of that line out. Kansas City confrontationally running right into the scrum half. Prop versus scrum half usually doesn't end well. With that Fort Wayne scrum half able to stand his ground, and now with the even better attacking situation for Fort Wayne, inside of the 22 with a line out in the first 7 to 8 minutes of this matchup, this is a good opportunity for them to get on the board right now.
Their set piece has struggled a little bit here, but we'll have to see what the line out kind of causes for them. Kansas City doing a really good job of marking the man, so diversion is going to be really important.
Fort Wayne able to keep possession here. A big run up again, and a big form tackle. Ball pops out, and Kansas City's defense is holding for them yet again, as now they find themselves establishing just outside the 22 here. Right foot step, and it looks like Kansas City has a line break and a chance to go. Will that ball be called forward? It is called forward. And it's something about those long passes. You just got to make sure they're precise. As the forward pass is so easy to call with such a big, lofty pass there, Darren.
I do like how they're testing the waters a little bit. They are trying to get it to some speedsters that are waiting in the wings like Klassen and like Palmer. So the contest is definitely there, but we've got to talk about that textbook tackle that just happened from Max Reynolds. They call him Mad Max for a reason there. He's dominating at scrum time, doing the dirty work there, folding people like lawn chairs. So this is going to be a really fun matchup between the two sides. Great American Rugby coming at you live.
Live on screen, as now the ball is put into the scrum for Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne able to keep possession. Scrum half tried to get around the corner, unable to keep his footing, tipped just a little bit. And now Fort Wayne is bringing that forward pressure, but big standing bodies from this Kansas City side stops the ball carrier live in his tracks, as we're now back into the Great American Rugby office. Ball is being played.
Brilliant. Beautiful, beautiful picture coming in at you with the Great American Rugby. The stare down is real.
But now again, Fort Wayne able to hold possession, but ball lost, and now Kansas City is going back the other way, adopting to go to the kick. Ball caught on the full, right outside the 22, played back in. Fort Wayne having to choose to go long side and choosing to go to that right foot. Fort Wayne is going to play the tactical possession territory game. It's bode well for him, but that set piece has to be equally good as a right foot step. And now Kansas City is off and running again. They might have what it takes to go in. Looping offload on the tackle, but can't finish. And Oliver Jones with this 10 is really controlling the game for this Kansas City side as Fort Wayne now loads up for another forward bash here.
Use it.
Fort Wayne set themselves up. Ball played out the back. Fort Wayne would try to get the ball off the park, and they do. And what absolute pressure absorbed by this Fort Wayne side. But you got to, Oliver Jones has already put his stamp on the match. Open space, he is dangerous, and you got to love what he's doing with his feet, but also what he can do with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, definitely carving up there and already starting to recognize some little spaces that Fort Wayne is giving to Kansas City there, just showing a little bit of hesitation whenever it comes to their defensive commitment. They're going to have to band together because, I mean, I just really enjoy watching Kansas City. Looks like, though, they didn't want to contest at line out, which means that it's going to be a scrum that's going to go back in favor of Fort Wayne. But we'll take another look here. It's a beautiful line out. They go up in the air well. Wilson fields it. They come back down, and then the issue is right here. You can even see as Fort Wayne starts to open up the channel here. They're just not able to grab hold. You see right there, Faulkner, part of the leadership is trying to reach for him, but it's not a maul. It's considered an obstruction, and it goes as a scrum. And Fort Wayne now is going to have to get themselves out of trouble.
Yeah, and the tidbit about that is going backwards doesn't necessarily help. You got to open it up. Just going backwards puts you outside the lineup, and you could be served with a penalty there. But because there was no bind, more tractor trailer than anything. And just to let you all know, to meet Scylla, Southern Buffalo find a way to come back and take the match away from St. Louis Sabres. And they will meet in the Division II Northern Regional Final. And that match is going to be an absolute cracker. Both teams are very strong, still handling business in a big way over the Salt City Slugs. But now Kansas City scrum again showcasing itself, getting a long arm advantage. Instead of going to the outside, choosing to step inside, fins a player to the ground. Sit down, young man, he says. The goosey is loosey. As now Kansas City is bringing out all the stops. We might have our first points on the board if Fort Wayne doesn't hold tough here. Ball played long, and now we have a crash up played from the first receiver, opening up that space. And now Kansas City choosing to go back to the big man. Isolated just a bit. And defense by Fort Wayne holds strong as the ball is stolen off an immaculate solo effort from the forward. I didn't get a number, but what a defensive stand by Fort Wayne here.
Yeah, that was quite the statement here. Waiting patiently for the ball carrier to fall to the ground is key here. And as soon as they go to place the ball, if you see the seam, then you break it. He does it beautifully, maintains his weight well as Kansas City desperately attempt to bash him off of the top, but because he holds his weight and he falls backwards, that signifies that he did everything right here, and he gets well rewarded with a penalty. The set piece has kind of been a little bit of a struggling point for Fort Wayne. Kansas City has really made them have to work not only in the air, but when they're on the ground as well. They're going to have to use some evasion to go against a well-defended side.
And that was Willie Rich with the steal, able to keep his body position. And now Fort Wayne is back on attack. Choosing to go to that right boot. It looks like the chase is appropriate, but was it outside the 22? It was, so we'll be going right back to where that ball was kicked.
Mark, Jimmy, be about here.
And the ball is marked right outside the 22. Amazing bit of play here for this Fort Wayne side, giving themselves an opportunity, but unable to make the most of it. And now Kansas City have the option of this line out here. And we'll get to see what they pull out here to get the ball and progress after almost going in the score not less than 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, referee says let's speed it along here, Kansas City, after a sweet little huddle. Ooh.
That right foot step. Oh, and a big collision. Ball knocked out in the tackle. Referee says backwards, but that ball carrier was knocked backwards in the time. He is in 1982 right now after that hit, as Kansas City now still with possession, plays the ball out. Fort Wayne pushing up defensively, closing that space, but leaving a gap on the bottom of your screen here. Too condensed, and now Kansas City around the corner. Can they make it? Another big hit. Fort Wayne, body after body after body. Ian Mutter, on the end of that one. And look at the physicality from Fort Wayne here, Darian.
Yeah, Muter definitely left Kansas City with nothing good to say after that play. We saw Tilly, and you got to wonder if he's going to actually take it to the line after getting smacked really, really hard by Sherman there. Right now, you just need somebody to light the match, and Fort Wayne now revving up the physicality against Kansas City. They're under pressure, and we're starting to see them really look to pin them down on the ground and get them down quickly so that they don't have to worry about the offload. Just unfortunate, though, that it looks like the line out might have gone a little bit wayward, so it's going to be a scrum in favor of Kansas City, and it's been really tough for Fort Wayne at scrum time. This front row with Gillespie and Dilly really just toying with them, getting the turns that they need, just going over the top here. They got the scrum advantage earlier, and so referee's going to be keeping a hard eye on this front row as well as the Fort Wayne scrum. They've got to maintain their body position and their power going forward.
My prayer was,
in these kind of moments,
for as long as I can remember,
lead signal to what the rest of the match will look like. Kansas City getting down to the scrum have won and really carried the scrums here for themselves. And now with such a great offensive position, can they make the most of it? Weak side is open here, but it looks like they'll be driving and moving this scrum forward. How scary is this if they can't find a way to really nullify this Kansas City scrum? After a continuous drive, they're able to play the ball out the back. Ball hits the ground. And now Kansas City, pressure from Fort Wayne really in the face of these Kansas City ball carriers. A little bit of some time, but now Kansas City is going back the other way here. Fort Wayne defense, can it hold? Can it stand strong? Great opportunity for them again defensively, but they got to hold because Kansas City is bringing the pressure here. Instead of going for the offload, choosing to keep the ball in possession. Ball knocked on here. Referee doesn't signal or call anything. He does just a little bit late. Now Fort Wayne able to continue, and they're going to play out the back. No kicking here. A chance to go, but they're going to go back to that first knock on. And that might have been a good opportunity to turn around and score, but that earlier knock on nullifies all of that there.
Yeah, Callahan almost took that one and ran with it. And you see Faulkner, just the frustration start to set in there as Fort Wayne are quickly over the top of it. Their defensive line, this is important. Whenever you can cause a turnover without having to touch the player, that's really what's key. And that's exactly what Fort Wayne did. Their pressure alone makes it so that they don't have to do the hard work of smashing them. It's just the pressure that causes that knock on there. It just seems like Callahan found himself at the right place at the right time, also cutting off the line, just that we've got to come back for this advantage. And after that scrum where they went about 5 or 6 meters forward, Fort Wayne dig in the boots and grind hard. This is going to be tough at scrum time.
You can hear both teams exuding, pushing, stressing to get that scrum stable for Fort Wayne, and they do just that. Now outside of the 22, you got to keep the play inbounds. They go high, up and under, putting under pressure, but just not enough defenders in his face. And that space gives them an opportunity to break the line. Going to the edge, ball just thrown a little bit behind. And unfortunately, Kansas City with a great opportunity after Warner cuts through. As now Fort Wayne gets to reassemble themselves, running right into a brick wall. Double Kansas City defenders. And now with advantage call done, Fort Wayne has a little bit of more work to do. Going to inch a little bit closer to that 22 line, and now they're choosing to get the ball. Will they go off the pitch? That ball makes it into the touch. So now Fort Wayne again absorbing high pressure from this Kansas City side. Line breaks, big runs, but still able to keep it scoreless here.
Bruning needed to make sure that he found touchline here, but let's take a look back at the beautiful work of Warner there with the nice little show and go. It's just unfortunate that it looks like that was Caleb Levi Kremen, who just gets caught a little bit in front there, has to catch it on the back shoulder. As a wing, you've got to hold your depth there so that you can hit on. Just gets caught a little bit wayward, but Kansas City now with a good-looking opportunity.
Yeah, and the ball played, long ball outside, one-on-one.
Advantage,
Fullback
high.
versus winger. That is the dream for a winger. Grabbed up high, so we'll have an advantage. Kansas City is roaring forward. We have a knock on, and they're going to go back to the high tackle here. But that high tackle with the line break might signal either final warning or yellow card here.
Penalties down here on our end, okay? We had the previous scrum penalty. We had this high tackle. We had the one over here as well. Please clean it up here on our own end, okay? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Referee leaning towards the warning, Darian, and it's got to be a sigh of relief from Fort Wayne, who find themselves on their own try line. And what a great bit of play from Kansas City, applying pressure offensively so much here.
Yeah, if they want to be able to contend fairly with Kansas City, they need all 15 people on the field, and both sides do. We're about 20 minutes gone, and we're staying 0-0, and it looks like Oliver Jones is going to go ahead and use the boot to get about 3 points on. But, I mean, nothing. Every single meter has been earned by both sides here. The defense is physical. The lines are aggressive, and there's not a lot of real estate here. Kansas City might be the ones to draw first blood off of a penalty kick.
Does OJ have the juice to get this score off the zeros? The right foot kick is up, and it is good. The juice is loose as OJ adds 3 points, the first points of the semifinal matchup, and Kansas City deserves something after all the work they put in here on this end of the field, Darren.
Yeah, and maybe he's looking forward to maybe sipping on gin and juice after they're done here with Kansas City, but it's still going to be a lot of time left to go here. We've got about 60 minutes. We're well into the first quarter of this match. And right now, like I was saying, Kansas City have really had to work hard to even get a penalty. Fort Wayne did get a talking to, so they're really going to have to maintain their discipline. Looks like referee's not going to really have much patience while the discipline stays down, so they're going to have to give it everything that they have to drop the body height and make sure that they get out of the tackle quickly.
Bruising run. These Kansas City forwards are mauling it and running with so much aggression. Forward pack is carrying so much aggression, able to get some space, clear their lines, and now Fort Wayne with a good opportunity that was close to what they had earlier in the game. The first time they'll have an offensive.
We have a clearance kick. I know it went to touch, but if we're in front of the kicker, we have to retreat. We must be put on side, okay? Thank you.
Referee just giving that last little bit. I think we might start seeing offsides called, even if the ball is sent off the pitch. As the trainers are dealing with blood here, I believe for Kansas City, that's number 18. I believe that's Max Reynolds. I'll be able to tell you in a minute if that's actually who we're dealing with here, but it looks like they'll have a blood substitution for the big man. And you got to love an opportunity for the big guys who get in for a bit, get warmed up, get into the game. Might get subbed off after the blood, but he'll have a little bit going as he injects himself later, maybe even to the second half here. As Kansas City holds a slim 3-0 lead. Players running into the line out as it's being thrown in. That evens numbers. Referee says play on. Right boot is clean here, and if that goes out of bounds, 50-22, but that might just dribble inside of the try line, and it does. They opt to touch it down. Goal line dropout. Has to go 5. But now that gives Fort Wayne the chance to breathe and relax. In an optimal position offensively for that line out, unable to win their own line outs, and now they have to contest with a goal line dropout here, Darren.
Yeah, and I mean, they are going to have to try and find a way to get deep within this end. We've played a lot of rugby deep within the 22 of Fort Wayne here, so they're going to elect to go deeply, and they're going to have to connect quickly, try and pin Kansas City farther down into this end, but the ball movement has really been lethal for them.
Tackle made, great tackle made as a player looked like he was going to get over. Multiple players from Kansas City have to add themselves to that ruck, and that creates an issue that referee is going to call from the side here.
Side entry.
Says the referee, and now we'll have a penalty for Kansas City, and from an absolute heavenly place to set themselves up, now Fort Wayne are finding themselves pinned back. From the side, says referee, and I believe it was just how the ruck ended more than anything. That same player who was originally in the first part of that ruck found himself in a bad position the second surge. And the referee calls from the side, and now Kansas City inside their own 22 here. Optimal position with how their forward pack has been playing. We might be looking at a mall situation here, Darian.
If it's anything like what their forward pack has shown us time and time again, they're going to want to take it to Fort Wayne. Looks like they want to go wide, though. So we'll see what they can come up with down here in the 22.
Players running layers, and it looks like it created a line break for Kansas City. The space is on the left side of your screen. Does Kansas City have what it takes to get the ball there? They do not. Tackled and dragged down by Fort Wayne. Forwards reset, and a big collision. Multiple players in that tackle for Fort Wayne to try to stop a charging Kansas City forward. I mean, if Jake Gustin is running at you, it is a scary moment. Giving him multiple carries, multiple chances to get involved here. More forwards are starting to pile and get closer to that ruck. They're right outside the 5-meter line. This is a great opportunity for Kansas City if they can drive it in. You can see players from Fort Wayne fighting, clawing, doing whatever they can to bring these Kansas City charging runners down. Ball played out to the edge. And the penalty given to Fort Wayne as they bend but don't break and find a right opportunity to steal the ball back. Not releasing is the call. And Fort Wayne's defense has been standing up throughout the first half here, Darren.
Beautiful body height. And here's the angle that you need to watch is the knees on the body here really anchors you down to the player, and it allows him to take the pressure as Kansas City flood over the top, try and get him out of there. But the low body height is really what wins it for him. We'll take another look here. Quickly to ground he goes. It's the release. And then here, anchoring the feet down so then that way you don't lose the penalty. Even Kansas City try and tip him over the top, but because he's already got both feet dug into the ground there and hands are on the body and the ball, it's just an easy call for the referee.
Fort Wayne running players away from the line out, able to deceive enough to get a clean one, and now we have a hard charging run. No one gets in front of him and decides that he's not the train you want to stand on the tracks for. Amazing carry from Fort Wayne, puts him outside the 22. But after the double line, able to find space to the edge. Great individual attacking effort on the edge here from the winger. Palmer able to stop essentially a 3-on-1. And that leads to Kansas City having an opportunity for the ball, but not releasing, or excuse me, hands on the ground. Is the referee not supporting his weight. And hands are on the ground right there on this replay, Darren. And the referee looks like he might have made the appropriate call. Not sure, though.
Yeah, definitely a fair call there. Reuter just seems to have hands on the ground first and then goes for ball. In order for you to be able to contest at ruck time, you've got to make sure that hands aren't on the ground at all. Take a look here. This is the point. That's the penalty right there. Having the hands hit the ground first, and then he tries to maintain his weight and go for ball. It's not a fair play. It impedes the ball carrier's responsibility and their ability to push the ball back. And again, it's just going to get Fort Wayne even further down. We're finally crossed the 50, Lance, and I don't know if in the last 25 minutes we've really played any rugby down here.
Yeah, maybe earlier in the first half they had a moment early in the first 5 minutes, but since then, starved for optimal possession. Now in the green zone, using it as opportunity to attack, and they run a layered attack. Some they work from the schoolyard. The space opens up for Fort Wayne. Could have got the ball to the edge, but unable to catch it. The ball is kicked by Fort Wayne, even though it was called backwards. And by kicking the ball out of bounds, squandered maybe the opportunity here. Look at this layer attack, Darren.
Yeah, this one works so seamlessly. Sherman gets it and then continues to give it to Muter. He connects well with Glasscock, but it's just this last pitch, this last try to get it to the speedster, Biddle, who had more than enough green grass. Sometimes, though, whenever you know that there's about 5 Kansas City players on top of you, it's just important to go to the support and take the contact there. Now we'll just see the ball get turned over, and Kansas City now get the opportunity to attack on out.
Carey able to knock a defender away. Excuse me, young sir, he says, is now Kansas City plays it wide. The space is there. Looked like it would have been a skip pass, but plays straight on, leaving a little bit of space, a half break there. As now they recycle, go back to the forwards. Kansas City is attacking with a surge, and Fort Wayne is forced to get low, and when they don't, they get driven back like you see here. Awesome carry by Kansas City, able to push multiple Fort Wayne tacklers away, and they continue to gain meterage, 4 meters at a time, 5 meters at a time. A lot of work for these forwards, but it's yielding positive results, forcing this Fort Wayne defense to really compensate for what's happening in front of them. As again, Kansas City using that inside tips pass to get a little bit more space, and they're getting behind this Fort Wayne defense and choosing to go to the kick. It's not a 50-22, but waited perfectly, had an opportunity to score, and just like that, Fort Wayne is on attack, giving it to the speedster. Big booming collision on Biddle, and Biddle, not looking to his right or left, might get sent to the hospital the way he just got hit there. It looks like he's fine and back at it. Fort Wayne opts to the kick again. Ball caught inside the 22. Kansas City takes a breath, make sure they're center, make sure they're good, and puts the ball off the bark on the opposite side of the 50. And that defensive bit right there is great to see from Kansas City, able to absorb the pressure, kicking the ball to put Fort Wayne under pressure. Fort Wayne, strong attack going back, and now they have their own line out here. And back and forth battle that we just seen on the booth there, Darian. It looks like both teams are game for this game today.
Looks like we've got the blood sub back on. Looks like that might be Land who came back on for Dilly after quite the matchup there at scrum time. Work rate, though, really being shown in Kansas City there off of that recovery from Biddle.
Please come in.
Referee just unhappy with the tunnel. So he wants them to close the gap here, but I'm really impressed with the work rate shown by both sides.
Ball played, and now Fort Wayne able to keep possession, playing that layer attack out the back. Does it create space on the edge? It does. We might have a foot race down the 5-meter channel. Fullback closing in, and he didn't choose to go left or right. He went right at Kansas City fullback, and the ball is knocked on contact, and you gotta love that kind of defense.
It's the speed of the pass that comes in from, it looks like that was Ballard, the captain. He gives a beautiful ball to Kava, but Kava, footwork, stiff arm, anything to go against Warner. Warner does a beautiful way of absorbing that tackle, getting underneath the ball, and when he does that, the impact of the shoulder knocks the ball on for Kava, and that moment that just looked too good to be true now gets stopped dead in its tracks by Kansas City. They're down here in the 22 with a beautiful scrum set, and I mean, it's just heartbreak for Kava, but what good ball movement. It's so fast and so powerful. Fort Wayne now starting to show a little bit of what they've kind of had in their back pocket.
Early push by Fort Wayne, and now Kansas City can choose to go quick on this free kick. They do, and opt to kick it towards the center of the field, being that it's a free kick. Ball takes a bounce, hits off a Fort Wayne player. He's pushed back all the way to inside his 22. Sheds one tackle, but not two. Ball thrown behind, and now Kansas City is on attack offensively.
Oh, that's a big defensive moment. That's a big defensive moment for Kansas City. And again, this work rate that's coming in from the back three there, it was a beautiful kick from Oliver Jones. They kept it calm by doing the tap and then kicking it, and then Biddle is just not able to handle the pass because look at how many Kansas City players alone are in frame. It takes Fort Wayne a while to get back. It's almost like they knew that Oliver Jones was going to go to the boot. They knew that they were going to have to flood those channels and launch up in a line together. And Fort Wayne, they just get it turned right over, and a scrum deep within this end after a short arm penalty. It's really starting to look like the light's starting to shine on Kansas City.
But now the surge from Fort Wayne, forcing a knock on the back of that scrum, and immediately Fort Wayne rejoiced. You can see the energy from that forward pack throwing their own punch.
Box scrum.
As Kansas City has really showed strength in all of the scrums, Fort Wayne said, we got something for you as well.
Look at Powell on this side. Beautiful angle, and then everybody gets behind him. You can see the locks driving, getting that angle to turn it left until he's just not able to handle the pass. He sees right there Lee is foaming at the mouth, ready to take the ball back. You see the frustration, but this is big for Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne has gotten dominated repeatedly by Kansas City. They're coming off of a short arm. In some way, somehow they found a way to power through, and now it looks like they're getting into their true form.
Might have to check who that blood sub was and if he's back, because that might be the corporate here. And now Fort Wayne has space on the edge. tackled and isolated, knocked forward, and now Fort Wayne is back on defense again against his Kansas City side, who seems to be relentless in defense and opportunistic offensively, running straight into the heart of this Fort Wayne side. Double tackle needed. This player takes a minute to get to the ground, land on top of Fort Wayne bodies. Now Kansas City plays it out. Quick hands by the Fort, and you love when the pack throws it like that, as we got a speedster on the edge. Does he have what he takes to finish? And he does. Kansas City adds some points to the board, and with the hand celebration and a standing ovation, Caleb Levi says, "This time is mine now," and Kansas City gets 5.
Caleb Levi Cremeen just fits so well like a good pair of blue jeans, maintaining the depth and the width the way that a winger should. But it was all set up with the selfless play by the Kansas City Rugby Club, being able to have the speed to finish it. I'd mentioned his name earlier. Cremeen just has that work rate. He's got that dog in him. Pat loves to use that. It's set up by Gaston, who then gives it a nice little pop pass to Land, who's waiting out there. The forwards connect well with it, and right there they've got the speedster. We're starting to see Kansas City show us their pattern, show us what they're trying to do to get it into the hands of speedsters like this. And Fort Wayne, even though they had moments that looked promising, honestly, Lance, it's their ball placement on the ground that's just not getting it for them. And when they're taking the tackle as well, you've got to protect the ball as you're working over, and you've got to do this hard work. Right here, we see it perfectly. They get over the ball quickly, ball secured, and then it's just a matter of ball movement. It goes well to hands. Forwards have that multi-layer pass. Forwards can pass too, and they get it to speedsters like Levi Cremeen that just finished the job. That's a dagger right before we go into halftime.
6 minutes left in this half, and if this scoreline stands, there's so much positive stuff we can say about Kansas City. Fort Wayne not reeling so much, just making mistakes at the most unopportune time. Didn't even have to crash on that try. Got to make your first tackles as Kansas City is back roaring and running forward. If there's a such thing as momentum in sports, and we know there is, we know who has the momentum here. Fort Wayne able to get the steal here. And again, Fort Wayne bending, not breaking. It kept the score line pretty close here for most of the first half. But the moments that Fort Wayne needed, they showed up. And here they are on attack again. Ball tipped in the tackle. Referee is going to call that a knock-on. Not intentional, just a standard knock-on there. And great response by Fort Wayne here. Ignore the scoreboard on your top left.
Well, they certainly can't. And right now, I think, or up top, yeah, there we go. We're back at it again. Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne, I mean, just those little moments. The panic also, I think, starting to set in for them as Kansas City are looking like they're going to go into the half with the lead and the edge over Fort Wayne here. They're kind of getting desperate and throwing passes that aren't necessarily going to hand here. They've got to find each other rather than trying to find the chaos. Oh, and this scrum is looking pretty mean, Lance.
Again, Kansas City scrum turning defense to offense, and this is where gaps are made and space is taken as Kansas City runs into multiple defenders. The second one finally taking them down after a second chance and a second bite at the apple. Physicality from this Kansas City side has been at the utmost today, and now the forward pack is back again with the hands. They find space around the edge, and Land finds Green. Land runs right into a defender that's playing sweeper, and Land lands right outside the 5-meter line. A charging run again from this Kansas City side. The blood sub coming back on attack, and now Kansas City is at the footsteps of another try inside the 5, and this can mean everything as they dive over, and Kansas City adds to a strong lead.
I want that replay not only to give kudos to Caleb Land that had that beautiful line break, but to also try and see if you can count how many times Lance used Land in that course of play. It all is set up, though, by none other than the try scorer, Levi Cremeen, dropping the body height, giving shoulders left and right here, and then it's the finish. The forwards are so fit coming in for Kansas City. It's so fast how quickly they get over the ball there, and then they just see Fort Wayne takes their eyes off of it for just one split second, and that gets Cameron Gillespie, the personal trainer, another 5 on the board, and now 13-0, 3.5 minutes, and Fort Wayne right now, things just not working in their favor.
You have 15 left.
As we set up for the conversion, does OJ have the juice? Takes it a little far left. And again, giving Land so many things to say as he lands so close to the try zone. And that pick and go right there. You got to protect that A gap. You got to protect that space closest to the ruck. That is the most vulnerable place on the rugby field defensively. And Cameron G goes in, and we see Kansas City extend their lead 13-0. And so much can be said positively for Fort Wayne. Unable to get possession and push, but their defense has been showing up in moments. But when those forwards move the ball to the edge, Kansas City becomes one of the more dangerous teams here. And again, we have another line break. Fort Wayne not securing their tackles, not getting the right body position. And it looks like we might have a steal here. The referee has to give it. He was on his feet. He released. He has hands on the ball. But it looks like the referee isn't giving it. So Kansas City is back on attack again. And when those forwards get their hands on the ball in space, they unlock those wingers and unlocks that edge, and they become so dangerous again. Levi splits the defender, left foot step, and now he's going to go under the sticks. 3 tries in less than 4 minutes, Darian, and Kansas City seems to be running away with this game against Fort Wayne.
Oh, and what a way. You see what it means to even the crowd. And even if you aren't a Kansas City fan, you better give a handshake to that man right there because he's working extremely hard. It's because of the selflessness, though. Again, Mourner gives it to Palmer. Palmer runs a beautiful line on the inside, still supporting his mate there. It forces the defender to make a decision. And then with a hop, a skip, and the height, Ackerman gets them further on top. Kansas City now looking like they're getting even more into form, building those phases and doing some serious work here. OJ, I think he might have just the right amount of juice to get over for the sticks.
He got to be juicy for this one. We've been waiting for him. He's taking his time, catching his breath. And again, you got to give appreciation and respect to the way that this Kansas City side is mixing and mending how their forwards and backs connect. It has so much to do with just the tries that's been scored in the last 6 minutes of this half. And that's the halftime whistle, Darian. And with 2 tries in less than 2 minutes, Kansas City extend their lead 20-0 over Fort Wayne in this Division II Northern Region Semifinals. We will be right back here in Lamont, Illinois.
Growing up in Mississippi, my prayer was, for as long as I can remember, God, use me. Use this life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that there is a vision for my life that is greater than my imagination can hold. Use me. What would you have me to do? And that dream, that desire, that prayer brought me somehow to television.
And she's gonna learn that this life will hit you hard in the face, wait for you to get back up just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air.
If we want to give all of our children a foundation for their dreams and opportunities worthy of their promise, if we want to give them that sense of limitless possibility, that belief that here in America, there is always something better out there if you're willing to work for it, then we must work like never before.
You might never fail on the scale I did, but some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something. unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default.
Movements for peace when all seems lost. Together, I do believe it is part of the American mission to ensure that people everywhere, women and men alike, finally have the opportunity to live up to their own God-given potential.
It's huge. There's limitations. There's been greater limitations before my involvement, which has stopped some athletes from being able to chase their dreams and having to go and fulfill a 9-to-5 job just to live, really.
So in life, you know, there are moments when you stop and ask yourself, how did I get here? Like, why am I standing here? Girls have the power to change the world. It is a fact. There's a really, really beautiful quote that I read recently, and I think it's absolutely appropriate to explain what I'm trying to say today. The hand that rocks the cradle, the procreator, the mother of tomorrow, a woman shapes the destiny of civilization. Such is the tragic irony of fate that a beautiful creation such as a girl child is today one of the gravest concerns facing humanity.
Tell me about your experience with RCT so far.
Well, I think my experience can be best described as really fun and community bonding because I meet so many new people playing the sport I love.
I wrestle and I play football, and there's nothing like rugby.
Yeah, everybody that I've ever met that tries rugby just comes to one practice has ended up liking it. And I asked her like what it was, and she said like full contact, like same rules, guys and girls, and I didn't believe her. And then she was like, oh, come out to our practices. And I did, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to play. And then
And welcome back to the second half of our 2026 Northern Super Regional D2 semifinal matchup between Fort Wayne and Kansas City Rugby Football Club. Kansas City holding a 20-0 lead. And Darian, so much has been happening, but the star of this half has got to be the winger. Levi has been putting his stamp on this game. So much can be said about this young man's play so far.
Yeah, he shoots his shot, and boy, he don't miss. Right there, he's got the speed to finish continuously. But the thing is, and this is key, I think, for the Kansas City side, is that he's got the trust to maintain his depth. We've seen some stellar ball movement come in from Kansas City. They give the selfless pass. They've got forwards that are waiting on the sides to give it to speedsters there. It's literally one of the most lethal forces. If you've got the power to pass, you've got those big runners, and then you've got wings that trust that you're going to get the ball to them. They stay on the edge, and they do what they do best. They finish it. They do the job. He's been instrumental, but the key piece of this, and not to be discredited, is that ball movement for Kansas City. Fort Wayne, they've got good defense. They've got a defensive line, but it's so hard to keep up with the pace and the power of the pass that they're playing with right now. Kansas City just seems to be putting pressure on them. And when Fort Wayne does have the ball, it almost seems like the panic sets in. Hopefully at halftime, they had conversations about how to slow things down, how to get the Kansas City team quick to the ground, and then hopefully get some time with possession. They've got to work hard on the ground, though, Lance. That's going to be the most key piece of this, is going to be when they do take the contact. What does that look like, and how do they maintain possession?
Opportunity squandered by Fort Wayne throughout the first half, unable to keep possession when they've created great chances for themselves. Kansas City almost as clinical as can be throughout phases of this game, including the last 10 minutes of that first half. They showed us something that I think might have just ran away with the first half. With the halftime to reset, and now with the kick going out of bounds, Fort Wayne have an opportunity to establish themselves. Do you get right into playing with speed and trying to get back in this match, or do you settle into this half and do what got you to this moment. So many questions to be asked about this Fort Wayne side, as now we have the first line out of the second half. Fort Wayne, a little bit of confusion, not bringing a jumper up, allowing Kansas City to get a clean swipe at the ball and able to take possession. Now Kansas City RFC is now on attack, trying to close the door on the outside, but leaving a gap by doing so. And now Kansas City is off to the races again. And if he has the legs, he can finish inside step and able to turn and twist around a Fort Wayne defender. And Kansas City, in less than a minute and a half, put points on the board here in the second half. What a great conversion, defense to offense here.
Oh, I know that Kiwi from anywhere, and I'm glad that he's finally in the game. It all gets sets up really well, though, from Kansas City. Klassen finds Field, Jacob Field, also a videographer for the College Rugby Show. We like to keep it in the family, but this step off of the left foot is what sets it up here. This beautiful straight running line, and then the look before the pass gives Jacob the feel that he can go ahead and finish the job. He looks up and sees green grass, and I mean, Pat talked a lot about the young organic talent that they've been adding to a long-standing club. Kansas City has been around since 1964, and this injection of young talent is really the energy that they need to be a different side.
The kick is up, and the conversion is good. And right when we said the things that Fort Wayne has to do, you got to make those tackles. Look at the top of your screen, trying to close that space and shut the door, force them back inside. Only leaves a giant gap to be covered. And Kansas City figures out a way to score pretty early, almost stumbling, bumbling, rumbling, but gets the 5. So much can be said about this Kansas City side and how they've exploded over the last 9 minutes of gameplay here. Kickoff to come and taken inside the 22, not wanting to violate that 22 line and move past it. Kept possession, but is dragged, carried, and pulled backwards inside the 5-meter line. That's why go forward is so important in this game, and forced to kick it from the back of the try line. Kansas City clears their line and finds themselves just outside of the 22-meter. Fort Wayne, if ever a moment to show up, this is it. Down 27-0. This has to be a moment. This is a gut check moment for your season here for Fort Wayne.
Yeah, and I mean, this is really their moment. This is going to be the time that they can redefine how that first half went. Going into the halftime 20-0, that halftime talk is really tough to try and find the things that have been going wrong in the machine. Fort Wayne need to find a way to connect. It just looks like even on that last try, they just are getting disconnected from one another. Ball's not going to hand. They've got to find the right moments, and it looks like they might start to find it here as they start to itch towards that 22.
Yeah, that line right there is giving so many options. Which forward is going to get the ball? Ball knocked on, but offside is called in the wrong position to try to repossess the ball.
Offside.
And an errant pass turns into a long arm penalty just that fast as Kansas City takes a breath. And now OJ tries to juice it out of bounds, put them in further and better field position. And that right boot, the ball looks like it stays on the park, and now Fort Wayne has an opportunity. Off that right foot step, finds the space, 10 versus 10. Seems to be what we just seen here. One fly half kicks it, the other returns it right to the same spot it was kicked, and now Fort Wayne on the front foot, able to attack here. Tackle called, the Indiana side pushing forward, and it seems like they haven't lost an ounce of fight in them now offensively, but the ball spills out again, and that was something we spoke about earlier, about having control of the ball into the tackle. The ball is kicked by Kansas City and touched by a Fort Wayne player. Let's see what the referee calls here.
I'm not sure, but I've got to say, and honestly, it was such like a mess that happened down there. I want to say the name, but I'm not sure. But as he was getting hit, that's where the kick came from. So even now, being able to have another option that's not Oliver Jones for Kansas City adds a whole new layer to this attack as well, meaning that anybody can kick at any time and relieve pressure. As they progress throughout the tournament, that's going to be really important either side. And Fort Wayne right now just need to find those little moments. Again, even in those situations with the 3v1s, they've got to make better decisions when it comes to giving the pass or taking it into contact.
Strong carry by Fort Wayne, and whenever they find some positivity, Unfortunately, something shows up. That ball just spills out on the offload, right into the hands of OJ the Juice Man. And the ball is being played here. Kansas City choosing to go wide. The connection from the forwards and backs has been one of the main reasons that the scoreline is what it is. Grabbed around the ruck and still finds space. The try scorer gives it away. And OJ the Juice Man, hey, gets another 5 points. Oliver Jones scores again, as now Kansas City are off and rolling here.
Oh, the setup, and we've seen Oliver Jones really be that orchestrator in the back line here, but right here we see Fort Wayne. They're looking at the breakdown, and it just takes 1 split second. They give way too much space around there, and Speedster there ducks the head. That's Jacob for you. Goes ahead and gives it to Oliver Jones. It's a flat, good pass, even under pressure there, and they just continue to pummel and make Fort Wayne pay for any and every mistake that they've made throughout this match. I mean, right now it's such a heavy ask of Fort Wayne to really find what's going to be that secret to get them even on the scoreboard here, as we're only about 7 minutes into the second half and a lot of points are happening now.
10. The floodgates have opened over the last 12 minutes of gameplay, not only ending the first half, but going in early in this second half. And he was grabbed or held up or tripped near the ruck, and that gave him the space he needed to go through. No one in secondary support defensively. That ball thrown maybe could be seen as forward, but not for OJ, not for the Juice Man. And he's able to get points on the board. And again, you got to commend everything that Kansas City is doing. They're making the most out of mistakes. When defense turns to offense, they turn it to points. When the opportunity presents itself to break the line, they're threatening points. And the scoreline says so much about what they've been able to do. As now Fort Wayne's able to force a knock-on in the tackle, as the Kansas City player was just trying to find space to set up this offense. And now when Fort Wayne does exactly what's necessary, able to get the ball away, might have some extraness away from the ruck. Referee says no, let it go. And now we continue play as Fort Wayne able to secure that ruck with immense pressure from Kansas City. Kansas City running into those passing lanes, really forcing Fort Wayne to make these decisions. And again, OJ stands as a brick wall. High tackle caught. As now Fort Wayne goes to the quick tap. Sniper knocks down the ball carrier with no one around, but able to keep the ball resource. As now Fort Wayne charges forward. Ball lost a little bit in the tackle, but able to keep possession. They're relying on forwards to play into the space, and it seems to be working for them as now they have possession right outside the 5-meter line. Hard charging run right into Kansas City's heart. Kansas City able to hold strong. Fort Wayne again getting into the forwards, choosing to go hit up. Now the space is wide. Looping pass to a solo Fort Wayne player who finds himself isolated all alone, but still able to keep possession is Fort Wayne after bodies are flung and swung away from that ruck. This Fort Wayne side finds a way to resource and keep possession, but that looks like a steal opportunity, and it is. The try scorer, the try assist man, is now showing himself on defense, and the decision has to be made how they'll proceed. Looks like they might try to go to the sideline here. Great play from Kansas City.
Jacob Field. What's funny about it is meeting him last week and being around Pat. We did the CRCs. Everybody here, Next Level Rugby, Pat Clifton included, and Jacob was there. And Pat kept on saying how he's just built different. He was really excited to watch him play in this matchup, and to now see him have so many brilliant moments throughout this game has just been so fun to watch. It's just the smartness, right? The release, and then to be able to get over. This is crucial. Get your shoulders quickly over the body and then hold on for dear life. If they come in and they blow you over, that's fine. But if you can get hands on the ball, get that grip, then that's going to be the things that makes the obvious picture for referee to blow it up. It's such a good skill set in Kansas City, not just through field, but other players on the pitch. They're really doing a good job of that, and Fort Wayne just struggling to keep up.
Kansas City again with a charging run. Players diving over from Fort Wayne, forcing that long arm penalty. The man on the spot himself just choosing to go. Tackle short, and that's going right to the pocket. No conversation. Yellow card, says the referee. And now Fort Wayne, who's already had immense trouble throughout the match, now sees their captain taking a seat as Chris Ballard not retreating 10 on the not rolling away. And now Kansas City choosing to slow it down and go for points here.
Thank you, Patrick.
Well, that is a big moment for Fort Wayne, and it just seems like they've just brought out the shovel and just keep digging themselves into a bigger hole here. Captain is going to go ahead and have to have a seat, and it looks like they're going to elect to get 3 more points on the board through Warner. He's going to attempt this penalty shot, but Fort Wayne with a person down, we said the worst thing that could happen for either of these sides was that they had to play with 14 players on the field, and already Fort Wayne is down 32 points to Kansas City.
She sets up for the kick. Able to take a breath. Steps up, and the flags go up as Warner puts 3 more points on the board. 35-0 advantage for Kansas City over Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne down a player. And even though we've seen crazy things happen in this game of rugby, being a player down 35, with the team with momentum, now receiving the ball back again, the light is dimming on Fort Wayne's season. They have to find a way to respond and get some points in the next 5 to 10 minutes to get themselves back into this game, Darren.
Yeah, and also, I mean, just being down your captain. A captain getting a card. I mean, there's nothing worse as a captain to have to go and sit whenever you want to be out there and give it everything. But when you lose that leadership, it does affect the team so greatly here. We even see right from the jump, something that's a little bit uncharacteristic from Bruning even is to not go the 10 meters, and it's just unfortunate. They're going to have a center scrum here at center pitch, but this Fort Wayne side, nothing really working in their favor. And it's unfortunate, Lance, because the physicality and the moments that they've had have been something truly special. I mean, they've been able to band together. The aggression is there. The want and the passion for the game is definitely there, but the connection just kind of lacks at times for them. And now an even deeper sever of the connection is Ballard going and having a seat for 10 minutes.
Ball played to the weak side of that scrum. Going to the boot here, adding tremendous pressure to this Fort Wayne side, who's been having to handle a lot of pressure. This man himself, the fullback, Ian Muter, forced again. And now Kansas City counter-rucking, getting the ball back. Just so opportunistic and stingy as this Kansas City side. So much can be said about this score line, but the way they continue to fight, just take away everything from this Fort Wayne team, and diving over for Kansas City is Mays. Oh, excuse me, is that 12 or 17? Excuse me, I thought it was 17. Looks like a forward. But Kevin Kelson goes in to score, and just opportunistic and stingy does this Kansas City side continues to be.
Take a look here. Field goes ahead and gets it close. He's telling the runners to come, and then it looks like that's number 17. That's Mays. Mays is the one that makes that one happen there right from the jump. I think it was Mays earlier that gave, it might have been Field's first try for Kansas City. I think it's his first or second weekend playing for them. So we'll have to take a look at the score sheet. But it was the first touch on the ball for Field, and he was able to get 5 on the board. And now he gives it back in to Mays, who makes it happen there. In Kansas City, 40-0, 26 minutes left. Fort Wayne has to find some points on the board here, else it's going to be a very long last quarter for them.
They have to find something deep within themselves to continue to fight here. 40 points in the Super Regional down. It's not where you want to be, but I have no doubts this Fort Wayne team will continue to fight. That kick is up and good. And look at this play here. Darren, walk us through this turnover here.
Pressure looks stellar from Warner, and then also Levi Creeman, the one who does the trust, but then it's the work rate that comes in for Warner. It just doesn't look like Fort Wayne is expecting it at all. Field comes here, looks around, makes sure that he checks both ways, see which option works the best for you here. And then from there, this beautiful fit pinch line that comes from Mays, the cutting edge of the defense whenever he knows eyes are all looking the other way. It's just such a smart and brilliant team try that comes in for Kansas City.
As now Kansas City back on attack just outside the 22 here. It looks like they're going to try to run at this Fort Wayne side. Tackle made. Players hopping over to get this ball out of this ruck. And again, Kansas City finding the space. That left foot step. It looks like Kansas City is off again, throwing it to that winger. One fin, does he have the legs to finish? He does. The man that we talked about coming out of halftime shows up again, and I believe that's 3 on the day. And the celebration.
Respectful, please. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. It's hard to really.
Goodness.
I know, it's hard to unpack everything that happens here. It starts off with Palmer, gets a beautiful line break. Look at this pass. That's how you connect with your wing. And then Levi Creeman, he wants to give us another celly. He wants to do one more for you in front of the camera here. What I love is that he doesn't go to celebrating. He's just here for all the love. He's here for all the hugs. We see that little acknowledgement coming in from that beautiful setup from Palmer, and this side just looks really well connected, a very well-oiled machine that's coming in from Kansas City there, putting in a statement and just showing that they really are a contender in this championship, putting quite the statement on. And I mean, the minutes tick away, and you've got to hope that Ballard is going to come on soon with a new bit of energy, some injection into the Fort Wayne side so that they can demonstrate some physicality and some contention with Kansas City.
They set up for kickoff, and now with the score line as it is and this conversion going up, a lot of the thought process as that conversion goes in 49-0, a lot of the thought process moving forward is just getting out of this game healthy, making sure you're playing at that tempo you like, able to stay hot, but getting out of it healthy, because tomorrow you'll have another matchup against another side that's game. Fort Wayne continues to fight, but just leaking in different places. And it doesn't take much to give up a try, especially against a good team. All it takes is half of a line break, a little bit of space, and it looks like Kansas City has been making the most of it all day. Over the top of a player on that lift, tries to go weak side, foot so close to the touchline. Referee says play on, and look at the speed in which Kansas City is playing with. Look at the tempo. Look at the way they attack in layers, forcing defenders to make decisions, forcing defenders to stand in front of hard running, big ball carriers. And again, Kansas City getting the offload away. Now they're feeling themselves, but the ball spills out, and we might have a high tackle advantage. That has a lot to do with the ball spilling out, as now Kansas City can slow it down and choose their options from this penalty.
The level of attack and the speed of the attack of which they're playing for right now, or playing with, Kansas City is, I mean, top tier. It's absolutely untouchable. And that's why Fort Wayne is just struggling to compete there. They're going to go for points and just continue to chip away. Lance, you talked about the importance of saving your players. These are the moments that if you have the options to kick, just try it, especially if you've got a high lead like this. It's so important to take the time, allow your players and your mates to recover. This is when those minutes matter come game 2 tomorrow. And they're just doing it so well. It's kind of unspoken. The leadership for Kansas City across the board, I mean, led by Faulkner and the rest of the crew for Kansas City, really is showing a top tier level to the game. I mean, just keep an eye on the anticipation that these players are playing with.
15 to kick.
15 to kick, says the referee, as they go for that penalty kick just inside the 50. It is up and it is good, extending their score 52-0. Kansas City Rugby Football Club is putting their mark on this match, scoring in so many different ways. Penalties, conversions, amazing tries, has a hat trick from the winger, which I love to see as a winger myself. The guys on the edge getting the ball fed to them and able to finish. And it's just so much going good for this Kansas City side with just about 20 minutes left in this game. Kickoff played, able to be taken in space. Players from Fort Wayne slipping, and the space is on the edge, but that ball tipped. It's going to be called a knock on, and an immensely great opportunity not capitalized on the best way possible for this side.
the scrum.
Yeah, the pin and pass was looking pretty strong. Even field gets around and then they move it. It's just cutting off this passing lane and putting on a little bit of pressure on yourself even in that moment. They just don't connect in that split second. Scrum time. We haven't really seen a lot of scrums here because handling has kind of been top tier. Kansas City hasn't been committing a lot of infractions, and Fort Wayne have just kind of had these moments, but unfortunately it just hasn't gone to plan here. This is a good attacking opportunity. We're into the final quarter, and sometimes we view it as such because you can change the momentum in 20 minutes, but 52 points and then to beat Kansas City, that's going to be extremely tough for Fort Wayne.
Tackled along the 5-meter line. Fort Wayne looking for opportunities for themselves. A bit of a hesitation. Played out the back. Now we have Mutner. He is electric at moments. Able to finally get some space.
Not rolling.
Advantage play for not rolling away against Kansas City. Fort Wayne has an amazing free play opportunity. One pass to make, and Fort Wayne could get on the scoreboard here. And they do. Fort Wayne able to get some points. Take that goose egg off of the screen as Axel Lee shows us how to get it done at Fort Wayne with a great team try there.
Fort Wayne, welcome. Welcome back. These are the moments, and it looks like it might have been McCray, who was a replacement that came in, that connected well with Lee, that was able to finish that try. And Fort Wayne, we talk about it in quarters because momentum can shift at any given moment. Sometimes the ball all of a sudden just works in your favor, and when it does, you have to take those opportunities in stride. Fort Wayne has struggled to find their footing here throughout this match against a stellar Kansas City side. And now that you finally see these moments where they show why they got here, the reason why they do it, I mean, it's just really important to kind of revel in those moments there. Fort Wayne now starting to settle into form, but it's very late on in the match, and it's just unfortunate as we take a look back here. The selfless play, being able to pin and pass, and mind you, there's also a shooter that comes in through the line on Kansas City. In those situations, everybody has to go together. It leaves way too many holes if nobody goes together, and that's the issue. It just leaves a little bit of seam there, and it gives Fort Wayne their first 5.
17.
Kansas City kicking off only for the second time today. High kick, able to have pressure immediately. Bobbled, and a knock on by Fort Wayne. With everything happening in this game, finally get something going right and unable to contain the ensuing kickoff. Fort Wayne now find themselves on defense deep on their own end. The pressure was there, but just unable to clearly gather the ball.
Warner and his bros are definitely putting on a whole show for us as far as certain skill sets that are crucial when it comes to rugby. Those small moments really matter whenever you're trying to make the big picture of scoring the try or accomplishing what the team needs. And Fort Wayne, yet again, just find themselves in danger.
Right foot step after this penalty, and now Kansas City wants to respond immediately after conceding a try. And that is going to be a reach into the pocket. The substitute will have a seat for Fort Wayne. Brendan Yu.
Time is off.
Urbanski.
Time is off.
Urbanski, excuse me. In the wrong place at the wrong time, knocking the ball down. And the referee has to go to the cards after that infringement.
Yeah, and you can see that it even hurts. That's why you've got to make sure that you lead with the shoulder. You can't lead with the hands. If you're going to try and stop the flow of the ball, especially down in this end with a team that has momentum, you've got to use the shoulder.
Sorry, that was Dom Wesley. Apologies, that was Dom Wesley on that knock on. He had a yellow card. He'll have a yellow card. And now Kansas City surges back, returning fire after that yellow card. Opting for the skip, cutting out multiple defenders, and now the space is on the edge. Does the man with the plan get back into the try zone once again? 4 on the day, too many celebrations. They ran out of handshakes with as many tries as he's had, as Caleb Levi scores again for this Kansas City side.
Shout out to the home remodeling business, because I'm pretty sure that it definitely teaches you some work right here, and that's been the game changer for him. That's why he's a standout player here. Palmer, though, you've got to give some credit, and whenever you see Creeman go over the line, you see Palmer celebrate the moment. He trusts that his winger is going to finish the job for him, so that's why he feels comfortable giving the pass on a continual basis. When you have that trust, it just makes for beautiful things to happen. It allows people to play with their strengths and to play with the goals in mind that you have as a team. And Kansas City really giving it everything that they have to achieve the goal of making it to round 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, and for everyone watching, you see a few of the Fort Wayne players arguing obstruction. Yes, the player was obstructed, but he was also pushed by a Fort Wayne defender into that passing lane. You cannot move a player into a place where he will be in a bad position like that. Referee let it play. I think that's the good call. And that kick from the edge is up and in.
We'll go ahead and take a look back. Palmer gives it back in to Creeman. Let's see how many tries he has. Count it out. 1, 2, 3. Come on, give yourself a fourth. 4 times. We've made it over that try line here. Oh, and it's nasty what he's doing down here for Kansas City.
Absolutely disgusting. Getting 4 of them things in a playoff match. And that might be a 50-22 if it goes out, but no, Fort Wayne finds a way to keep it in bounds. That kick from inside of the 22, Fort Wayne forced to retreat, able to be put back on sides, but look at the space to attack for this Kansas City side. The pressure was there, and the ball is knocked on. Fort Wayne opportunistically jumps on the ball. Now they'll have an opportunity to attack. Advantage called by the referee, so it looks like we'll stay in open play here. The ball plays out to the middle. Joey Blankley able to get his hands on the ball. First touch of the game. An attack. Choosing to go to the boot outside of the 50. Inside of the 50, but corralled right around the 10-meter line. That step puts them through, and Kansas City is off and running again. Choosing to go to that right foot step with so much green on the top of your screen. Can they finish it? But no. Ball kicked out of bounds by Ethan Glasscook, and able to stop what looks like a brilliant try by Kansas City. And as we look at it again, Darian.
Glasscook had no choice but to stop that dream, to not turn it into a nightmare for Fort Wayne here, as we see just a flood of Kansas City. And if you're Fort Wayne, that's one thing that you don't want to see coming at you live. And so he just has to go to the boot and hope for dear life that it finds its way out of bounds there, or else it would have cost them 5. But you got to wonder if they'll walk out of here with a try or maybe some penalty points, because they're deep down within this end. Oy.
And the man himself scores another one as Kansas City continues rolling, adding to this onslaughted scoreline, lopsided scoreline. And the man himself, we spoke about him multiple times. As soon as he sees the space, he hit the boosters, and there was no one stopping him, Darian.
It's the time that he takes to look around and be aware of the picture that he's looking at. Off of the line out in a scrum half position, if your forwards do the work right, which is why he's probably looking back at his forwards, thanking him for that. If they do the work right, then it buys your scrum half time to be able to make those hard decisions when they're under pressure there. He sees Fort Wayne, they get disconnected whenever somebody shoots up off the back of the line out, and then he just takes that small gap. But then after that, it's just individual effort that gets him over that try line yet again.
With another conversion opportunity, Kansas City continues to add to this score line. So much can be said about this Kansas City side, and so much can be said about Fort Wayne as well, as that conversion is up and good, continuing to add points as we look to the other side. Who will be meeting Kansas City in the final tomorrow? As Southside Irish plays the gentleman of Aspen. Aspen holding a 15-point lead with less than a minute left in the first half. We'll have more details on that as this game winds down. Winner of that game faces Kansas City, who will, we have to say unceremoniously at this moment, will be the winner of this match, barring an act of God from this Fort Wayne side. Ball bobbled in the air and contained and grabbed by Fort Wayne, able to keep possession, and now Fort Wayne is on the attack able to carry and push forward. This Fort Wayne side continues this epic fight. Ball played out. They run a layer attack, but unfortunately the timing isn't there to deceive the way they need. Unable to peel off that rucker. It looks like he might have had a shot at the ball. Fort Wayne keeps possession and big collision. Runs right into a brick wall. And now Fort Wayne going to the boot. Cheeky kick, able to keep possession, but could not get the offload away. And a high tackle will be called here after the ball is recovered by Kansas City. And Fort Wayne still has something in the tank, able to showcase a little bit as the fly half, showing that OJ isn't only 10 on the field doing work, as Sam, the man, almost had an amazing bit of play right there, Darian.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to discredit what Fort Wayne has done. And I think that now it's just about heart. It's about ending the season how you wanted to, and that's ending it together and ending it on a high note here. They still have time to make some brilliant moments happen, and we're starting to see Fort Wayne settle into form. You've just got to hope that they ride off of that high, continue to go ahead and pummel at Kansas City, and to make a statement.
Six.
Looks like we have some extraness off the ball. The referee stops the game. And this is not what Kansas City wants. You do not want to be embroiled in anything extra. You have something big going on tomorrow and in a few weeks at the same location. You got to stay disciplined. Worst thing you want is to sit out. As we look at the replay.
No, that's a late hit. Also did not have the ball. We've got to go back and maybe see that replay one more time. I'm sure that the referee is probably going to go to his AR, but
past the ruck, way past ruck, clearly. On your way up, I saw you hit their 9 in the face twice with an open hand.
it was
That's a red
finishing on that note. Okay, and then he gets tossed around, but then it's this strike right here. 1, 2. The referee is very unhappy with.
I was here to explain. It wasn't a conversation. Back 10. Thank you. You're welcome.
And with the hand shoves, open palm hand shoves to the face. After that excessive ruck right there, Logan Lothhammer, is going to have to take a seat. And that is, even though it won't change the complexity of this matchup, a red card out of the gate for striking to the face is going to have implications leading in to the next couple of weeks here. If he plays 7s, that will impact it. If he doesn't play enough matches leading into 15s next year, that will impact it. So many things to be dealt with. But also, the late hit from Kansas City will be looked at. Just because it wasn't a red on the field doesn't mean disciplinary won't take a chance and peep what's going on as now Kansas City continues to play a little bit of offense. The C parts wide open, and now Kansas City with another opportunity to score. They aren't slowing down.
Easy up, fellas. Easy up.
Mr.
Thank
Mays,
you.
who scored a try earlier.
Well, good fellas. Thank you so much.
Puts the work in with the fin. And you got to say,
we can bring the
Kansas
yellow
City
card on for the
now
kickoff.
has been
Yellow card on for the
rolling
kickoff.
and continues
for the
rolling.
kickoff.
Yeah, it looks like Mays was the one to run that beautiful strike line off of it and just kind of waving his hands in the air like he just don't care. He uses the stiff arm straight to the sky, and somehow that makes it work for him. But Mays is the one to finish the job and just to continue on that last play. I think it was the original tackler that was with the ball carrier that force that. So, I mean, they'll take a look at it and see if it does need to be upgraded from that. But you don't want to commit those. It looks like a red card is what's given. It's just absolutely egregious to kind of do that down here during this time as well. And it does affect the players. I mean, it's so important to maintain your composure. And Kansas City now 71-5. It's just not the way that you want to end your season.
Definitely not.
6.5.
Conversion up and no good with about 6.5 minutes left. And Darren, this line right here, it looks like Fort Wayne has the heart pulled out of them at these moments when you look at the effort from the defense.
Yeah, and this is somebody that just knows his strength and knows what he's capable of. Instead of using the fend, all that he does is he just uses his feet to kind of power off of those legs and to get him into those spaces, and then finishes the acceleration there. Fort Wayne now playing with players on the field that just don't seem to want to tackle players like Mays. It's just going to be a really tough contest in the last hard few minutes for Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne able to force a penalty, a man down. And now they set themselves up. Looks like they're gonna go to the line out. Try to gain some territory and get closer to the try line late in this matchup here.
It's good for them to go to the set piece, hopefully give themselves a good attacking platform to get a little bit more points on the board. Again, at this point, they're just playing with heart and for a vibe for each other and a love for each other. So hopefully they can find ways to connect with each other before we end this match.
Closer, 9, please. Come back. Good.
Ball up, and Kansas City able to get the steal.
Let it come, Black. Let it come.
Ball reset at the back of the ruck, and they choose to go to the forwards. The confidence of the Kansas City side has been shining through at every moment. Unfortunately, offsides went around the ruck. Talking, says the referee, backs him up another 10, and Fort Wayne falling apart at the seams.
I've been patient with you all game. It's just too much of this play. I've been patient all game with you.
And after a buildup of continuous talk, the referee has had enough, adding an extra 10 to the penalty. And now Kansas City would try to get off the pitch with this kick.
With the behavior that's kind of come in for Fort Wayne, he's really not going to have a lot of patience for any of it. And that also includes back chat, especially whenever you're down. It's just not going to sound like it comes from a good place, any of the calls that are made. And it's just unfortunate now that they continue to give more and more meters to Kansas City. If you're Fort Wayne, you don't want to give them any more opportunities to be able to do what they do best, and that seems to be getting over the line for points. So it's just going to be, again, just a tough last few minutes for Fort Wayne.
As the kick, what a beauty, but cannot be gathered cleanly. And again, Kansas City is trying to put together plays for the highlight reel. You can play a little bit looser with the score line as it is. Taking that late pod and immediately turning and putting it up to the right foot over the top of the defense. Caught cleanly, but again, that inside defense showcasing itself as Fort Wayne forces a turnover, and now we have a scrum to go.
If that kick, I think, would have gone just a little bit further, then I think he would have been off to the races, but it looks like it might have gone a little awkwardly there. So it's just unfortunate that he gets put under pressure after taking a really good angle on the outside.
Fort Wayne driving
Away now.
From the 22-meter to inside the 10-meter. And now Fort Wayne is off and going. Player down. They said, we don't care. We're attacking. Swung around and dragged down in the 5-meter channel. A lot of work for Fort Wayne to get to the ball. Reload and get back to it. Able to charge forward. Man called for the penalty earlier, putting Fort Wayne on the front foot. And the penalty for not rolling away. And Fort Wayne would choose to go quick here as the quick tap happens. Multiple players in position to receive the ball. And look at Fort Wayne covering so much space in under 3 phases with that penalty. Now having a chance to go around the corner to the outside. And the player without the ball is hit, but the referee not calling it. Continues to play on. Player stuck in the middle of the ruck yet again, not rolling away. Referee's had enough of the disciplinary issues here.
We're under pressure here now. It's too quick. Penalties at the ruck. Please clean it up. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and referee definitely has a point there. The breakdown penalties have started to increase for Kansas City here, so he's just reminding Faulkner that they still have to maintain their discipline, though they are up by a lot of points. This is the moments that you've got to learn to maintain the momentum when you do have it as you go throughout the competition. Tomorrow's going to be tough. The more penalties and the more meters they give, the more hard defense they're going to have to do. It's just a trickle-down effect. So hopefully Faulkner can get a handle on it for Kansas City.
Line out right around. 5-meter choosing to go straight down on that line out. Running a quick pop to the hard charger man. He had a few line breaks in that little bit of phase play before. And now Fort Wayne continues to get around, attacking on the middle of the field here. Fall right short of the 5-meter line. Ball played out to space, and like a rocket, once Hands was on the ball, he drives forward. The yellow card man back on the pitch.
It's a tackle now.
Held up and grabbed by a few players.
Short.
It's going to be Trey Sherman with the carry, and now Fort Wayne dives through, giving a little bit of attitude.
Fellas.
Pride is on the line for this Fort Wayne side. You got to respect the tenacity they have. And now that's the end of the game. Final play called by the referee. Darian, so much can be said about this match. Before we close for the final whistle, give us some of your thoughts here.
A lot of emotions ran very deep for both sides here. We see what it means to these sides, especially looks like that was Joey Blakely that was able to get the final bit of points for Fort Wayne as we enter into the final few, I would say less than a minute to go. And now we just see that Kansas City is going to get that ticket into the next round. They'll play again tomorrow, but Fort Wayne just not able to find the connectivity. And honestly, Kansas City, you've got a lot of things to pull for the highlight reel. It was an exceptional play that came in. A lot of really good things happening for the program there as they all work together, young and old. So Kansas City really dominating here at the tournament. And what a statement to do this against Fort Wayne.
And with that final whistle, Kansas City taking a 71-10 victory over Fort Wayne in the D2 semifinals of the Northern Super Regional. A lot of action already, but one more game left here on Rugby Saturday. We'll be right back in Lamont, Illinois.